Back down to Campbeltown. Well, welcome to another Whiskey review. With me, the Whiskey Novice. It's good to have you with me as always. It is review number 95, part 3 of my series, Back Down to Campbeltown. And the word for this week is subtlety. Yes, what madness am I going on about now? You ask yourselves. Subtlety of flavour. And it'll come in, I think you'll find that word or that term or that phrase or in some way, shape or form will be used in this review of Longrow 18. Longrow 18, bottled at 46%, non-shelf filter, no colour added. This, if anybody was curious, if anybody's looking for the same bottle, if you're looking for a Longrow bottle, anything from Springbank, the code will be down here or on the inside of the front label. You'll find it somewhere. And this bottle code is 18//031, which would suggest that this was bottled in 2018, because I think that's the way their codes generally work. Although it wasn't, it was actually bottled on the 23rd of the 1st, 2019. So I would imagine then that the code should have read 19/031. But I'm not here to argue about it, so we'll move on. This was bottled at, this was made, should I say, using a combination, 18 years, combination of 75% sherry cask, 25% bourbon cask, and it was a run of 4,800 bottles. So it says on it, limited edition. I mean, it's like most stuff that comes from Campbeltown now, isn't it? Particularly from Springbank or Glengyle, that it's pretty much limited anyway. You just take that as read. So, subtlety of flavour. I'll probably be hinting at it as we go along, but I'll try if I remember to get to it at the end or before we go a whole lot further and get to what I'm talking about with subtlety of flavour. And it's something that is leaning more toward age. Okay, so let's get into that now, shall we? Remember, 18 years old, peated. Should have reminded you of that before we went much further. 3 very distinct styles come from Springbank, remember? Longrow, of course, the Springbank distillery. Hazelburn, they're triple distilled. I'm going to say light. It's not light. It'd be their lighter spirit, their lighter whiskey. Triple distilled. Still very much Springbank. Springbank itself, then, their named whiskey, 2.5 times distilled. I'll throw a link up here for the 12-year-old where I explained how that was done, if nobody's seen it. And yeah, 2.5 times distilled. And then the Longrow, Hazelburn, not peated. Springbank uses a portion of peated whiskey, or peated malt, and then the Longrow is their peated whiskey. So with that in mind, twice distilled, peated whiskey, 18 years old, what is the nose like? It's bright, it's shiny, it's slightly sweet, it's slightly industrial, and it is all Springbank. All day long. And I love it. It's that hint, it's the dirtiness, and it's the hint of, I'm going to say 2-in-1 oil, but the one I would know specifically, WD-40, is just a hint of it there. That sherbety sweetness, light hint of porridge oats, or it's cereal, but I'm going to say porridge oats. And as I said, that suggestion of dirtiness, it really is. Of course, worm tub. Yeah, there's a meatiness as well, and all of that just adds up for me and says Springbank. And it's just a hugely recognizable flavour profile for me now, and I think there's an awful lot of you out there would agree. And here everything feels really, really well balanced. 75% sherry cask, 25% bourbon cask maturation. Somebody has worked together, and they've worked very well to get it to this flavor profile. Yeah, everything's very subtle. I mean, I could name notes. I could tell you notes I'm getting. Weirdly, ice cream. I nose this and think of ice cream. Probably vanilla ice cream. Or actually no, it's not. It would be a lemon sorbet. Yeah, that's what it is. It'll be a lemon sorbet. And it's just that, it's a weird freshness. Remember, this is peated malt. Subtly. And I did mention that there's a slight meatiness about it. It is that hint of 2-in-1 oil. All of that works very well together. This, no, I'm not. No, I'll get back to you later on it. Ah, light, delicately sweet arrival. But then, weirdly, coffee, chocolate. It feels dirty. Coats really well. I said the same about the Kilkerran I reviewed recently. That it coats well. Well, actually, it coated well. Felt sort of oily, but I did say it was clean. This feels dirtier. It really does. It feels an awful lot dirtier. There's a sharp tanginess around the peripheral of the tongue. And that lasts long into the finish. The smokiness. The smokiness is there. You know there's peat involved. There's peated malt involved in this. But it's so delicate. It's so subtle. It's not, you don't get that medicinal note, that TCP note that you would with younger peated malts. And even at that, even if there is an earthiness or a smokiness there, that smokiness is earthy. It's very earthy, but so delicate. Yeah, everything just mixes in. Everything just plays well together. Nothing wants to jump out. Nothing wants to stand out. Oh. The finish. Moving on, I suppose. Medium. Well, it's quite long actually. It's quite long. And it just brings back memories of all that tanginess, all that sherbety thing, and lemon sorbet, as I said. Water, yes, very much so. Honestly, if it was me, it's 46%. I wouldn't drink it without water. That was probably about a teaspoonful I put in it. It can take it. Give this time. Ralphie said it, and I always thought it was a great quote. A minute in the glass for every year in the cask. So you'd be talking 18, 20 minutes in the glass here before you would actually start it. I've had this poured a while. Honestly, me personally, cap it, walk away from it, and then come back later. Give it as long as you can and let it settle. You're really just doing it justice. Somebody in Springbank has spent a lot of time working on this to get a flavour profile back before it was a thing. You know, to get this onto the market originally, somebody had to work on it. Do that person credit. Give the whiskey its chance in the glass. let it relax, let it settle. I'm sort of jumping forward because of this review, but even to put water in it, let it settle, let it meld, let it all play through. Water, the sweetness balances out, levels out, it settles out a wee bit. Brings out more of that dried fruit from the sherry influence. Yeah, it really does. Smoky? No. No, it's not. Palate. Still sweet, but becomes an awful lot more vegetative. I think that smokiness is then starting to play a wee bit of a turn in it. The dirtiness is still there, you don't lose any of it. Yeah, sweet, balanced, finish stays long. Yet again, I should have said it before, in this series, back down to Campbeltown, you're not going to find many complaints from me. I can't help myself. Get back to it. Subtlety of flavour. And this is a prime example. Those 18 years in the casks, because you know you're looking at a blend of 75% sherry cask, or 25%. So you've had couple of casks there. You know, it's not a couple. It's more complicated than I make it sound. But you know, for the purposes of this, let's just say you had a cask of sherry, you had a cask of bourbon. You put 75% of the sherry, 25% of the bourbon. 18 years they've been in there. You put them together, and you get this. Certainly more complicated than that, but if you narrow it back to those terms, I don't think it's to do, well, there's a certain amount of it to do with that balance, that 75-25, but it's more, I think it's the 18 years, it's the time it's taken in there. And I've learned over time that not all peated whiskies, not all of them now, I'm not that gullible to think that they all do, but certainly a lot of them, in my experience, given time, as in get past that 10 years, get past the 12 years, get beyond that, and the smokiness starts to get lost to the cask. The cask influence starts to then take its grip. Take your younger peated whiskies, and that peated malt will keep the smokiness carrying through. I think personally, once you get a bit of the age in it, it starts to pull a bit of the peatiness back, and then the cask influence comes in. But it takes it all working in harmony to give you a thing of beauty like this. This is like, this whiskey's, I'm going to use the word exceptional. It's not exceptional in the terms of, but to me, it's quite exceptional. What makes it that way? Well, this whiskey has become like, where's Wally? Or Waldo, for those who don't know who Wally is. In that, it's in there. Wally/Waldo is in there somewhere, but he's blended in so well that you really gotta work to find him. And I look at a whiskey like this now, and this is not necessarily a special occasion whiskey, but one in every month I'll have a wee dram of it, just as a wee thank you to myself, as a wee thank you to Springbank, as a wee just to have that one wee special dram of other whiskies like it. But this one is one of those, and in that purpose, it's not a let's see what I can find today. Let's see what I can find. It's just so well blended. That malt has been so well put together. Those 18 years have made such a shape of this malt that it just gets into my glass and it's not something I want to think about. I want to just be able to sit and enjoy. And sometimes we need to do more of that, I think. Says the man who reviews the stuff and breaks it down. You can see a little mist starting to settle in this now. Yeah, Springbank all day long. All day long. And I love it. Love it. It just takes everything that you would find in the Longrow, classic Longrow peated, and things that I love about Springbank 10-year-old, things that I love about Hazelburn, and it just seems to pick out all those things that you love most and put them together in a glass. This is class. £100 a bottle if you can get it. So with that said, why not? Yes, if you like this was a difficult one for me, and I'm not convinced that I'll convince you, but because what do you if you had a bottle of Longrow 18, what do I suggest to you that if you like this, then try this, that could better this? I mean, I've just talked this up to the high hilt there. Where do I go? Well, what I'm going to suggest to you is a whiskey that I did find took age but held its smokiness. It's the Electric 18-year-old. Bottled, yeah, well, 46.3%. I think everything's pretty natural in this too. Rich peat sherry cask finish. So there's going to be a certain amount of jiggery pokery going on there as well. But this one, for 18 years, holds the smokiness, but pulls all that electric richness, and you've got a sherry finish here. To boot, it's, given the option for me, which would I prefer of the two of them? For me, the Longrow 18. Simply because I just love that Springbank flavour profile. There's just something about it that draws me back. But if you take Electric 10-year-old and ramp it up in the same way that if you were to take the Longrow, the classic Longrow, and take it up to 18 years, this one carries through better. This one brings a lot of that. But that's a review for another day. That's a review for another day. So, if you had Longrow 18 and haven't had Electric 18, I'm going to recommend that to you. There you have it. Yeah, as I mentioned there a while ago, you're not going to find many complaints from me in this series. And this one is exceptional. It really is. It's just an absolute quality whiskey. Everything works together in it. And it's so subtle. It doesn't fight you in any way. All those flavours work well together. And it's something that I've learned over time, that older whiskies are harder to review, because, for me anyway, because in the younger whiskies you can say it's got that note, it's got that note, and there's a certain amount of stuff that will just fire off almost immediately. But it's that subtlety of flavour that age brings that makes them harder to review, because it just tends to peter down and take itself into just a thing of beauty. Sometimes it doesn't work. In this case, it does. Because that's a thing of beauty. I'm going to leave it at that. But thank you very, very much for joining me. Thank you very, very much to my patrons. If you wish to join that group, the link is below. All pledges that come in from my patrons go directly back into Whiskey or the Whiskey channel or the Whiskey Novice in some shape or form. but it's all whiskey orientated. So I thank them very, very much for that. If you wish to join that group, details are below. I'll be back next week with something else from Springbank. No, I won't. I'll be back next week with something else from Campbeltown. I think Campbeltown, I think Springbank. Bad Jim. Bad Jim. Until then, here's to your good health. Cheers.
Hey, thanks for watching my video. Please click and subscribe to be notified of further content.